What up, my boys? Today we're working on a Trailblazer 5.3 LS, and my boy Damien here is helping me with work stuff slash also helping with more of the video making side of things. That's his area of expertise, so he's gonna be helping me out with that today. But anyway, Trailblazer here. As you know, I only do LS stuff. This was diagged at a different shop. Supposedly it needs head gaskets and lifter. Normally I would take the time to do my own diag and make sure that we're actually putting parts in it and time in it that's gonna fix the issue. But I trust the other shop and they know what they're doing. They said it needs head gaskets and lifters, so we're just gonna dig into it. It ticks bad, which common LS lifter tick. Smokes out the tailpipe, burns coolant, and misfires. So, you know, all symptoms point to head gaskets and lifters. So we're gonna dive into that and kind of explain how everything goes. More of an informative video, not really performance. And I mean, it's an LS, so this is what we're good at, but it's not like cool, you know what I mean? But as happy as I am to modify stuff, I'm also just as happy to keep daily drivers on the road, as long as it's my area of expertise, which is this stuff. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna dig into the repair and follow along.
Did you want to explain to them really quickly why it is that burning coolant relates to needing new head gaskets?
Yeah, so basically you've got the engine block and then you've got the cylinder head. They meet together like that, and there's little passages that run between the block and the heads, so the water pump can cycle coolant through the block and also through the heads to keep the entire engine cool. And the only thing that sits between the block and the heads is a head gasket. So if the head gasket is bad, a lot of the time coolant can leak through the head gasket, through the water jackets in the engine and into the combustion chamber, which is the cylinder. So the water pump is cycling coolant through the engine to keep it cool, and if the head gasket goes bad, then it'll push water down into the cylinders, it'll mix with the air and the fuel, it'll get burnt, and it'll drain the coolant reservoir, and it'll make a bunch of white smoke out the exhaust. It's not supposed to burn. So that's what happens. So the first real part that has to come out is the intake manifold, and what that entails is pulling your intake off, disconnecting the wiring harness and kind of putting it off to the side, getting your crankcase hoses off, disconnecting your fuel lines, and doing the brake booster hose, which most of the time you do the brake booster from the back of the manifold, but on this specific car I find it's easier to just pop it out of the booster itself and pull the hose out with it. So once you've done wiring harness, crankcase, fuel lines, brake booster, all that stuff, basically you just lift it on out, you keep going. So she just kind of comes up and to the side, just like that, and we'll set it over here and keep going. Alright guys, so as you can see, we're a little bit further, not much further, but a little further. We've got the water pump off, the fan clutch off, all the radiator hoses, and the belt, all the stuff on the front that prevents us from getting to the cam. Why do we got to do the cam on this? Well, because the 4th gen LS has a feature where they disable half the cylinders while you're driving to save fuel economy, and it's called displacement on demand, or DOD. AFM, active fuel management, you know, it's bull crap. And so what you do on these is you delete them. In order to do so, you got to swap the cam, because there's a specific difference in the cam load profile on the cylinders that deactivate, because the lifters are a little bit different and those lifters always fail. So whenever you're doing lifters on these DOD engines, it's always best to just delete it, put a non-DOD cam in it, which in this case, in order to save cost, we're going to do an LS2 C6 Corvette cam, way cheaper than an aftermarket cam, because we've got plenty of them sitting around the shop doing nothing. So we're putting a cam in here from a Corvette, deleting all the DOD, putting everything back together, and doing a little bit of tuning, and that's pretty much it. So in the next little section is going to be pulling the heads off, so we can swap the lifters out, and yeah, we'll go from there. Keeping the project going today, but as you can see, yesterday we got the heads off. In order to pull the cam out, we had to pull all the radiator and all this junk out, so
which is sitting right over there.
Yep, now that that's out of the way, we're swapping the cam. Cam bearings don't look too bad, so we're just gonna keep them the way they are. Put this in, get everything cleaned up, retime the engine, they stack the heads up and keep going. So where we're at. Where we're at right now is the heads are all torqued down. The exhaust manifolds are all torqued down with new bolts. And if you've ever done LS stuff, this is something that I guarantee you've seen before. You've got your broken exhaust manifold studs. Literally happens almost every time, mostly with trucks. So I never reuse them. What I do is I like to use new stainless hardware. It helps to have that not happen anymore. I don't know if you can see them kind of down there. But yeah, new stainless hardware always helps. Gaskets, obviously got the front cover torqued and aligned and everything. So from here, all we gotta do really is install a trunnion kit and the valve covers, intake manifold, and then everything back in the front, and we should be pretty much good to go, other than a little HP tuners action to take into account for these upgrades, but yeah. All right, so guys, we got our Trailblazer here. As you can see, we finished the cam and DOD Delete and heads and everything, and kind of forgot to time lapse / video the whole thing, but we spent a good little bit road tuning it, making adjustments to the ECU for the new cam and the DOD Delete and everything, and it's running great. We're about back to our buddy's house. He lives about an hour away from the track. Yeah, it's doing good. This being our first like working video, obviously is gonna need some fine tuning before they're dialed in, you know what I mean? So the next one, we will make sure to film the whole thing and do a little bit better with updates. But as far as this rig goes, runs good. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.